So, Rick.
Yeah.
What is this Oregon jersey that you're wearing? What is going on here?
Pac-12 champs.
Pac-12
Pac-12 champs in football.
Oh, okay.
We did not win the Pac-12 North. We did not win the Pac-12 South, but we did win the Pac-12 championship game.
Nice. So, we are a college basketball channel. What does this have to do with that?
West Coast, best coast.
Is that pure and simple? That's the only reason why?
For now, we'll get more into it in just another minute.
Do you want to introduce the hellos?
Hello, and welcome to the Top 25 Rankings. This is where the cool kids hang out. And you can only join the cool kids club if you can win basketball games. Apparently, number 22, X Go and Give It To You, Xavier, knows how to win college basketball games. Apparently, number 24, Virginia Tech. Welcome back. Apparently, you guys know how to win games. And apparently, Dana Altman figured out how to make his Ducks win some games.
So, welcome to the top 25 U3 teams. Let's get into the goodbyes this week.
If 3 teams come up, 3 teams must go down. Say bye.
Number 23, used to be 23, Louisville. 24, used to be 24, Clemson. And a big drop in the rankings, number 18, San Diego State. Too bad they weren't shooting ducks. And all that. But yeah, San Diego State did drop, and we will get to that in a minute with actually like my segment of who is the team of the week. But anything else in the top 25 there, Rick? Anyone else changes?
They've gone up a little bit because they beat Illinois.
Okay.
So tell your grandfather?
Yes.
Yeah, tell your grandfather what's up. For our Rutgers report, they are still undefeated.
Yep. Yeah, still there's quite a bit of teams that are still undefeated so far this season.
But they're like number 11. They're like actually kind of like...
They're getting up there.
They're getting up there. It would be hilarious. It would be a national championship game of Gonzaga versus Rutgers.
I personally, just because you mentioned my grandfather, I'm hoping for that Illinois Gonzaga game in the championship game. But who knows who's going to win Region 1 and Region 4. But anyways, who is still ranked the only team Gonzaga, number 1. I will give a tiny bit of a shout out to the number 6 team, Houston, who, yes, isn't a mid-major team, but isn't the power conference team. I'm still going to at least give you a tiny bit of shout out. We haven't given
They're a high major.
Yeah, they're a high major. AAC is a high major. I haven't given you a shout out since the pre-ranking or the preseason. But anyways, still getting votes. SDSU, who is actually going to be number 26. Mm-hmm. Richmond, who's number 27. Mm-hmm. And St. Louis, who's number 28.
Okay.
And then BYU and 18, Western Kentucky. I kind of mentioned I mentioned that we were going to be talking about them soon, and finally we were going to talk about them.
Best mascot to use in mascot battles on NCAA football.
No, honestly, yeah. No, I completely agree with you on that.
Second best, Stanford Cardinals.
Freaking tree.
Because you have to run around as a bunch of just trees, but these hilltoppers are straight up terrifying. Think about an obese, trailer park Elmo.
Yeah, no, that's the best description of the hilltopper. It's amazing. And again, a tiny bit of a shout out to University of Central Florida, UCF, who just joined the rankings. I think they have a couple good votes. I don't think they have one. I think they have a couple votes. And Southern Methodist University, SMU. I know you aren't a mid-major, but you are in a power conference, so I'll give you guys a tiny bit of a shout out.
They're the same conference as Houston, right?
Yes. Yeah, so Houston, UCF, SMU, Memphis is in there.
Okay.
Cincinnati is in that. Yeah, that's the A.
So it's a high major.
Yeah, no, high major.
Fun fact about St. Louis is last week, I believe, you can quote me as saying, if they beat Minnesota, they'll get ranked. Guess what they did not do?
But they actually still gained votes. I will give them that. And we'll get to St. Louis in a little bit. Let's first start off with the team that I knew we were going to talk about very soon, Western Kentucky. So far this season, I just kind of gave it general season stats. Western Kentucky is so far 6-2 to start off the season. Big wins over Memphis, Rhode Island, and Alabama. Their losses are to top teams. Not by much in one scenario, by quite a bit in another scenario.
21's not a lot.
In college basketball, no, it's not.
It's only 3 touchdowns.
But their first loss was to West Virginia, 70-64, which I thought was the game of like, okay, they're definitely going to start getting votes. They did it until this week. But they did lose to also Louisville, 75-54. Over the course of the season, big thing that I will talk about. This feels like a deep Western Kentucky team. 8 guys averaging more than 17 minutes a game, and no one on their team is averaging more than 30 minutes.
That's the bigger stat.
Yes. No, I completely agree. That's the stat I'm going to start off with this team. Yeah. It's a deep team, and with wins over top high major teams of Memphis and Rhode Island, that's something to be proud of.
Who do you game plan against? They have no player that plays a full game. Like when you have to
not even a half, essentially.
Yeah. You have to have a game. Like you have to build your game plan for the scheme. You can't build it to shut down one person.
No, that's yeah. So it's definitely a deep team. I will give this a little bit of a shout out as well. 4.8 blocks a game.
Yep,
that's a notable stat.
Yeah. We
had one guy at Gonzaga, Brandon Clark, that was averaging 4 blocks a game.
I think
that is a weird stat for one specific person. That should be a team stat.
Yeah.
But I will give a little bit of a knock on Western Kentucky. 13.5 assists. That's not bad. But comparison to their turnovers, 13.4.
Hey man, that's a ratio that's over 1, so
just over 1. But that's definitely going to be something that they're going to have to work on. But man, again, no one is playing 3/4 of the game in total in terms of minutes. No, for that team, and they have a good.
So they're going to be rested. They're going to be. Yes. There's nobody who's going to get tired. If somebody gets injured, oh well.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah, it's definitely a deep team. Like I said, this was a team that we were going to talk about, and now we are starting to talk about them. Next team, still getting votes. Number 20, what did I say? 27 in the rankings?
Something like that.
27.
27.
27 in the rankings. Richmond. This last week, wins over Vanderbilt and Loyola Chicago. They beat Vanderbilt 78-67, and Loyola Chicago, they barely squeaked out a 2-point win, 75-73. Loyola Chicago was receiving votes at the beginning of the season. Let's also remember that. In those 2 games, in the game against Loyola Chicago, that's what I was specifically looking at with this one. In the game against Loyola Chicago, Richmond 51.9% field goal, 12 steals, 18 points off those turnovers, and they were able to force 18 turnovers.
Yeah.
So it's 1 point a turnover, essentially, is what they were getting.
Not bad.
Not the best on offense in terms of those turnovers, 15 turnovers. And again, I feel like this also kind of goes hand in hand. If you give a lot of turnovers, you're not going to get a lot of those passing abilities, those assists. Only 10 assists.
But if you look at the 10 assists compared to the essentially 52% shooting,
yes,
what you see there is a lot of ISO ball. Mm-hmm. We usually when you make that extra pass, you have a better shot and your shooting percentage goes up. Their shooting percentage was already very high. Mm-hmm. So what that tells me is that they were basically just trying to isolate Loyola Chicago and out-athleticize them.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like with them overall in that game. However, Loyola Chicago kind of had a different perspective on the game, it felt like as well. I will give Loyola Chicago a shout out just because they were receiving the votes at the beginning of the season. Loyola Chicago 9 for 26 from the 3-point line, 18 assists. So they were wanting to pass that ball around. However, did get allow 18 turnovers during that game. So again, it's the 1-to-1 assist turnover ratio. However, with their forced 15 turnovers on Richmond, they were able to get 15 points. So basically, Richmond and Loyola Chicago just traded off points and turnovers ratios.
Yeah, and so if you look at that, what it looks like is Loyola played better team ball, but Richmond played better basketball.
Yeah, so overall, but again, Richmond is still going to be a team that we're going to talk about. I feel like they will receive votes essentially until March, it feels like, unless they get like a string of losses during the season.
They got to run their conference if they're going to stay ranked. If they get one in-conference loss, they're going to fall.
They're going to fall.
I think they probably afford one.
If they get one, they're going to fall to pretty much like
25th.
5 people voting for them.
Yeah.
But if they get one more loss, then they'll just be done. A team that, again, it's the resume building to start off, and then, okay, now we started to kind of see what they are capable of versus these top teams, essentially. That was my biggest knock on St. Louis, was they didn't have that resume, and now this week showed it. Yeah. This is your resume. This is what you can do against top teams. First game, Indiana State, their big win, 78-59. Big win over North Carolina State, 80-69. Nice. And then they lost to Minnesota, 90-82. In those 2 games against North Carolina State and Minnesota, I included their Ken Palm rankings. North Carolina State 41, Minnesota 54. Combined 44.5 field goal percentage, 13.5 offensive rebounds, 14.5 second point chances, 17 assists. I will give them that.
Yeah.
3.5 for 12 from 3-point line against those 2 teams.
So apparently, they need to do a better job of creating open looks.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're saying 17 assists combined,
it's more in the paint
area
or down low.
No, what I'm looking at, 17 assists combined comes out to be 8.5.
Average.
Okay.
This is average, yeah. 17 assists average.
Okay.
Between the 2 games.
Yeah, then I don't know what to make of that. Like,
they're not creating those 3-point opportunities, essentially. It's definitely within the 2-point arc is what they're...
Oh, absolutely. At 44.5%, but you're only making 25% of your threes? Like, yeah.
And you're only getting 3.5 threes a game.
And you're getting 17 assists.
Yeah, they are creating those passing opportunities. But another thing that they do need to work on, especially this is the first time that we're seeing them playing against competitive teams, and one thing that we talked about last week was the turnovers and the assists and all that, that ratio. 21 turnovers versus North Carolina State. They allowed 18 points, which, yes, it's lower than 1 point a turnover, but that's a ton of turnovers that they're giving.
Yeah.
And then they kind of fixed it against Minnesota. 12 turnovers, but allowed 18 points.
Yeah. So they definitely played a lot worse basketball against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. And it reflected on the point line. Of course, they lost that game. And I felt like that's probably why they lost it, was that turnover point allowed ratio in that. But
yeah,
that's definitely something that needs to be kept in check. And again, this is the first week that we're definitely seeing St. Louis to be tested against power teams. I will say this, despite the 11 bench points they got on North Carolina State, 26 bench points against Minnesota. So despite the loss, their bench stepped up.
Or, to put it another way, their starting 5 had a really shitty game.
Yeah. But again, like, this was our first week to see what St. Louis is all about. Overall, I'm impressed.
I don't know if I would put them on my ballot, but
they're
good.
In terms of winning that first round.
Yeah.
In terms of winning that round of 64, I can see...
Oh, yeah, no, they're good. They're a tournament team.
Yeah.
Are they a top 25 team?
No, not right now.
Correct. All right. Another tournament team that's definitely not a top 25 team.
I will say is my team of the week beyond Gonzaga, because we will always include Gonzaga as our team of the week.
Yeah. No, they're our team of the year.
Team of the week, I will say, is BYU.
BYU who?
BYU in their matchup against who used to be ranked 18 San Diego State in the not-so-mid-major showdown. BYU ended up getting the win over San Diego State 72-62. BYU in that game was really good in the first half. And they just, I would say, maintained it, survived it in the second half.
Oh yeah, it was a 4-point game with 2 minutes to go.
No, so I mean their first half 51.9% from the field goal. Second half big drop to 40.7.
Which is still good in a lot of teams.
It's good depending on who you're matching up against in the defensive
If you're playing Virginia, that's great.
No, that's good. Virginia, West Virginia, yes. First half 3-point, 5 for 14 from the 3-point line, and then second half 2 for 9.
Okay.
I will give them this. The 22 bench points from BYU.
Mm-hmm.
13 forced turnovers, and they were only able to get 9 points off those turnovers. And then 17 turnovers that they allowed, and they allowed 15 points off those turnovers. So definitely need to shape up, and I'm sure that happened majority in the second half.
Yeah.
Just based on what the trends were. And then now let's talk about the San Diego State team, who is still receiving votes. Again, I feel like it's just the opposite of what we're going to talk about with BYU. First half, 25% from the field goal, 48.3% from the field goal in the second half. First half, 3 points, 2 for 11. Second half, 7 for 14.
Yep.
Just a completely different team from both teams.
Yep.
By half. 11 offensive rebounds for San Diego State, only 4 second chance points.
Interesting. That's a very interesting stat because it talks about what I was looking at above, which was I think BYU is playing very, very tight defense in the paint and just daring San Diego State to shoot the three. And in the first half, that was a great strategy because San Diego State was cold. The second half, they shot 50%. That's when you start playing defense on the perimeter.
And then to remind, they did force 11 turnovers off BYU. They got 15 points, which they were able to utilize those turnovers somewhat to their advantage, but it didn't fully come to play to a win. They did get 11 steals. I will say the biggest knock on San Diego State during this entire game is the fact that Matt Mitchell was the only player for San Diego State that game. Matt Mitchell, 12 for 17 from the field goal, 5 for 9 from the three-point line, 6 for 7 from the free throw line, in total 35 points. Now that means the rest of the team, 9 for 40 from the field goal, 4 for 16 from the three-point line, 5 for 8 from the free throw line, and the entire rest of the team only got 27 points.
Yeah.
So again, kind of going back to what I was saying last week, there's
aliens.
There's only 2 guys from San Diego State in double-digit points.
Aliens.
But again, I'm glad that it's BYU and San Diego State. It's 2 definitely tournament-ready teams. It's definitely going to be those 2 teams that we're going to see at least compete against whoever they're going to match up in the first weekend. And we'll probably get those, if they're going to be the lower rank, get those upsets. In the first week. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on you guys. No knock in that matchup because that is a mid-major matchup.
Yep.
Now on to our favorite team. My favorite team, not your favorite team. With this jersey going on. the number one team who has been number one since preseason, by the way. Number one team Gonzaga with their one win this last week over who used to be number 3, I think only dropped to number 4 in the rankings. Iowa win over Iowa 99, just 1 point short of 100 points to 88. And I have a bunch of stats from this Gonzaga team that is impressive. And again, I feel like I'm back to what I'm talking about. I don't know which one impresses me the most when we were talking about the Fort Hays State team. Gonzaga, 51.4% from the field. Their season overall is 54.3%, fourth most
it's because
in NCAA.
We shot 60% against Kansas.
13 for 26 from the three-point line, something that I was questioning this season. 16 offensive rebounds, 13 second chance points. 5 guys with double-digit points, something that I was kind of questioning as well. Again, another thing I was questioning as well. 25 assists.
Okay.
28 bench points.
Okay.
They did, however, allow 18 turnovers.
Yep.
And they did allow 17 points off those turnovers.
Yep.
And there was a change from the first half to the second half in a bad way, surprisingly for Gonzaga, because it's definitely that up-tempo second half offense. First half, 57.6 from the field. Second half, 45.9. 3-point shots in the first half, 62.5% from the three-point line. Second half, 30%. And what did they get in the first half?
Tacos! Sorry. I'm old. We got Wendy's.
I was about to say they got Wendy's in the first half for you. They got exactly 10 3-point shots in the first half. So depending on your year at Gonzaga, it's either tacos or Wendy's. But I would say the biggest knock I have on this Gonzaga team, their free throws. They went 14 for 24 from the free throw line, 58.3% in that game. And that is now starting to somewhat become a reoccurring theme, it feels like.
You realize what they're doing, though, is purposely setting up that season percentage.
Season percentage, 69.5% from the free throw. And they're getting 20.5% opportunities from the free throw line. So they're missing out on 6 points when they go to the free throw line.
If they shot every game. In reality, they're missing 3 to 4 points.
Right. But
which would have been over 100. If only we had scored a century.
Yeah, yes. So that's going to be my biggest knock I have on this Gonzaga team is that the free throws, it's below 70% now.
Yep.
So that's something that they need to keep in check.
It's a very nice number, though.
Player of the game, Joel Ayayi.
Yep.
You want to say his stats?
All aboard!
Because I don't believe these stats of Ayayi this game.
So Joel Ayayi, number 11 on the team with points. Sorry, no, he scored 11 points. He's also number 11. But he also contributed 6 assists. I want more. I need me that Ayayi triple-double. Actually, no, I need the whatever 5 is. Like septuple. No, sept is 7.
No, that's quintuple.
Whatever 5 is. Oh, pentuple. Because pentagon?
Yeah, it's either quintuple or pentuple, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I need that. I need points, assists, rebounds, turnovers, and steals. And I know you have it in you, buddy.
It's not blocks.
Nope.
So 6 assists.
So 6 assists, 18 rebounds, 5 of them on the offensive end. If you were playing the drinking game, take a shot whenever Joel gets a rebound. You were drunk.
He beat Garza.
He beat Garza and Timmy.
In rebounds.
Yeah, he was the leading rebounder in the entire game.
I can't believe that if you were going to tell me in the game that we have against Iowa and Gonzaga, that's, again, I shouldn't be surprised, but each and every game I'm surprised it's Joel Ayayi leading rebounds. When you're going
he has magic hands.
When you're going against one of the best players in college basketball. Luka Garza, who was literally right underneath that net. No, he is underneath that
We
net.
hired Bill Belichick to put magnets in the basketballs, and then Yay wears metal gloves.
I don't believe it. Joel Ayayi, what are you?
He's a paid member of the New England Patriots.
So the one question I asked you last week was, does the games for Iowa against North Carolina Central, Southern, Western Illinois, Northern Illinois help Iowa versus...
Yes, I think they did.
Versus Gonzaga missing out on all their practice games.
Oh, I said the games helped. I told you the games helped Iowa. Because could you imagine Iowa if they had just come off of a 2-week break?
Could you imagine if Gonzaga went off a 2-week break?
Oh wait, we did. So I stand by what
I'm surprised. Like, how did Gonzaga go off a 2-week break, score almost 100 points off the number 3 team in the nation, and definitely a Final Four contender?
Because we're stupid good. Emphasis on stupid.
Iowa, according to ESPN, Iowa had a 66% chance to win this game.
That was the BPI. The BPI doesn't even smoke meth. It smokes like crack.
Oh my goodness. It was...
Who cares about the BPI?
I do not.
All the bettors knew what was going to happen.
I could not believe this game against
All
Iowa.
the money lines had Gonzaga winning. It was fine.
I guess Gonzaga starting off this season 4-0, is it now? I've lost track of how many amazing teams that we've played right now.
The worst team we've played is Auburn, which is a tournament team.
It's definitely a tournament bubble team in that category.
But don't worry,
So
Gonzaga doesn't play anybody.
I guess apparently not this season.
Yeah, we take 2-week breaks.
Yeah, that's what we do. So in terms of not playing anyone this season, Gonzaga has 2 games back-to-back that we just realized against Northwestern State.
Mm-hmm.
That was just like Northwestern State just kind of came in, and Gonzaga was like, "Hey, like,
Their plane landed early.
let's do another game."
They're like, "Hey, we're here early. You got time for 2?"
So, what do you hope gets improved on this season against Northwestern State? Because this is the first ever, like, kind of relaxing game that we're going to have.
Based off the fact that we're running out a new lineup this year, we lost a lot of names.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't lose talent, but we lost names.
Yeah.
Or years. Years might be a better way of putting it.
Yeah, that's better, yeah. Anyways.
We lost that, and based off what I saw against Iowa, turnovers. Turnovers need a lot of work. And also, you'd think that free throws would be something you'd be good at if you took 2 weeks off.
Because all your it's you in isolation practicing that.
Apparently, they were running stadiums, not free throws.
No, that definitely makes sense. For me personally, I really want to see the bench, and not to be a knock on him, because I know I saw a tweet recently where everyone was knocking
you
the
a
bench. But not like I saw a tweet recently from I think Slipper Still Fits. Not to be a knock on him, but I just want to see him like get better about the point situation. But Anton Watson, I want to see the bench and him get more confident, like show like more points there. Again, not a knock on them. I understand they're doing their roles.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Look at Gonzaga historically.
Yeah.
The guy who plays the 3 has historically been weak on points.
No, and like I said, like I completely agree with that kind of like an argument. Again, like I'm trying to separate myself from whatever that other thing was. I'm just saying, like, yes, like I just want to see
It'd
a little
be cool
bit
if
more.
he was getting like 7 or 8 instead of 4 or 5.
Yes, exactly. I just want to see a little bit more from that. Just especially if you're going to be a starter for Gonzaga again, like historically speaking from Gonzaga, like we have like
Do I need to get my Mike Hart statistics out again?
5 guys that were in double-digit points, we only have like 3.
Homie shot like 60% from 3, but he shot like one every 3 games.
And I agree. But it's like, we're 4-0 with those kinds of
So don't change it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It totally makes sense. So I guess this coming up, mid-major games this week, St. Louis playing Missouri, Kansas City, so not Kansas. On the 23rd, Richmond playing Hofstra on the 22nd. San Diego State with another somewhat mid-major matchup against St. Mary's, another WCC team that they're going to be matching up against on the 22nd. BYU playing Texas Southern on the 21st, and then Weber State on the 23rd. Western Kentucky is going to play Tennessee Tech on the 22nd, and then Gonzaga, their back-to-back matchups on against Northwestern State on the 21st and the 22nd, and then they play against Virginia, a team that was just scheduled like 3 days ago on the 26th.
You know what's stupid?
What's stupid?
Virginia's ranked 16th. They're going to really bring down our strength of schedule. Do you know what else is stupid? If they were ranked 1 notch higher, Gonzaga would then end the week with 4 wins over top 15 teams. However, Virginia probably figured out the best way to climb up in the rankings. Lose to Gonzaga.
That's how you climb up in the rankings, is to lose to
Have
Gonzaga.
you seen West Virginia? Have you seen Kansas? Two teams have done it.
So anyways, what are your predictions for this week? Who do you think is going to be ranked next week? Who do you think is going to be getting votes next week? Is there going to be a new team that we're going to be talking about? Who knows? But anyways, please enjoy your Christmas. We will see you next week. Hopefully we will see you next week. We'll try to put out a video before the New Year's about the wrap up. We will see how that looks. But until then, please, for the love of God, for Christmas, please stay safe and please stay healthy.
And stay distant. Wear a mask.